Hi, and welcome to my channel. This is Katrina Sargent, maker and creator of Devil Doll Custom Creations. Today we're going to do a hydro dipping using magic marble paints. I'll be dipping 3 different non-glitter tumblers. Here are a few things you will need. But first I'm going to show you a little trick to keep the paints from getting inside your tumbler. I take a prep tumbler and I take a coffee cup that I cut the bottom out for my smaller tumblers or my wine tumblers. I then place that inside my tumbler before I add my football or whatever you're using to hold your tumbler. This is a football from the Dollar Tree glued onto a paper towel holder from the Dollar Tree. I like these because I can spin my hydro dipping and it has a base already once it's done. For the larger tumblers, I take a plastic cup from any fast food restaurant and I reuse it over and over again. I cut the bottom out as well, and it fits perfectly in the larger sizes like 30 ounces and so on. I don't solely do this with just hydro dipping. I also do this anytime I am prepping a tumbler. I always add my cup before my football or my arm to keep the paint from getting inside the cup. And here I'm just showing you how I use it for my painting with my normal football arms, not on this base to twist into hydro dipping. It's just a football attached to a PVC arm. First off, you're going to start with a bucket of water. This bucket I've used over and over and over again, about 65 to 70 degrees. Styrofoam cups are optional. They are the easiest way to clean off the extra paint off the surface of the water. I usually go dark to light, but you can do opposite. First, I sprinkle a couple drops of my dark blue, and then I go to my light blue, kind of spread them out. Do robin's egg next. Once you're happy with the amount of paint you have in your bucket, I then take a kebab skewer and make a design using it on the surface of the water. Once I kind of have an idea of what it's going to look like, if I want my white tumbler to show through, I'm going to add the colorless at that moment. It's going to add the breaks in the paint. If you have a glitter base, this is what's going, your glitter is going to show through in those spots. Then take your kebab stick or your stir stick and run your paints to the edge of the bucket before you dip. You're going to want to dip at a slight angle and slowly twist as you submerge your tumbler. Take your time at this. Then once the tumbler is completely submerged, you're going to just give it a little shake. It's just going to remove any of the paint that's around the tumbler on the surface so it doesn't mess up your dip as you pull it back out. Once you're done with your paints, just take a baby wipe and wipe up the top before you put the cap on. It's going to save you so much time and energy later. Sometimes it kind of keeps the cap on if you don't do this little step. You also don't want to let your paint sit out too long with the caps off. Now you have all this extra paint you have to get off the surface before your next dip. This is where the styrofoam cup comes in. It is perfect to clean up the extra paint off the water surface. You have to clean this off before you do your next dip or it could ruin it. You can use this water about 4 or 5 times as long as the temperature stays correct. Once I have that ready for my next dip, I then take my dipped tumbler over to my little compressor I have for my airbrush, and I just lightly go over the bottom, and then from the bottom to the top, pushing the water droplets off the tumbler. You can use a can air, you can do anything like that. This is just convenient since I had it already. And keep doing that until your tumbler is fairly dry. It doesn't have to be 100% dry. This is just to get the majority of the water droplets off your paints. Now that it's mostly dry, I will set it off to the side and let it dry overnight before I use quick coat on it before epoxy. Now moving on to my next dip. I actually created a color mixing blue and black together to make navy. I just repeat the process on any dip, like the first dip. If you are not wanting the base color of the tumbler to show at all, you will not use colorless. The next dip I do will show you with no colorless at all added. Here you can see the slight difference of the navy versus just the straight blue. I'm sure Beach Girls Glitter has a navy marble paint. I just need to go on and find one that I like. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Clean up my water, clean up my paints, take my tumbler to the air compressor. You can see the differences in the navy versus the blue here a little better. Now moving on to my last dip. I'm going to make some more navy of mixing my blue and my black together. I do a few drops, about 5 or 6 of blue to about 1 drop of black. Depends how dark of blue you're going for. You need to make sure you shake up your paints really well before using them. I'm going to show you a mess up. This I messed up completely. I like to use my metallics as my last color on the water, not my first. You'll see why in a second. So once your paints start clumping up like that, you're never going to get a good dip. So just clean off the water with your styrofoam cup and start again. The metallics, for some reason, harden up faster on the water than the other paints. So I do try to do my metallics at the end. So here we go. We're trying again. Navy, then the light blue. You need to kind of work at a slightly faster pace than even the other magic marbles when you're using metallics. I do not want any white of my base color showing from my tumbler. I only want mostly these 3 colors. So I'm not going to add any colorless, and I'm going to add a lot more paint to the surface water. I'm going to do it the same way though. Make my design, and then bring the edges to my bucket before I dip. There's a tiny bit of white showing, but I'm still very happy with it. Here it is after I've sprayed it off with my air compressor. I always let my dips dry overnight before I seal them with CCDIY Quick Coat, and then I epoxy as normal once that is dry. I hope you fully enjoyed this tutorial about hydro dipping multiple tumblers. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you are notified anytime I post a new video. You can also get in touch with me at my Facebook group at facebook.com/DevilDollCommunity. It's a great place to get ideas, share your crafts, and have fun. Thanks.